Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Here we are with the jobs with Trevor and Tom, correct?
Yep, that's correct. How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing great. And just want to
Good.
let everyone know that this is the first podcast that we're actually being sponsored by from South River Brewing Company. So if anybody wants to check them out, it's South Brewing, South River Brewing .ca
Yes.
for our Canadian counterparts. They're in Northern Ontario up there. So check them out. Yeah, we just want to give a big shout out to them and thanks to them. We were just talking to you guys about that off air. That kind of came in quick and hot.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
Sorry to overwhelm you right away. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just, you guys.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You jumped here. Nice to meet you. By the way.
By the way.
Guys.
Yeah. So my first question about you guys is the jobs. What's the band name about?
Do you guys have jobs?
You guys like your job?
Yeah. You want to take that one? Yeah. So Trevor and I, we've known each other since pretty much elementary school, and we both have always loved music. Always, played, in separate bands. And then I think after college, we just realized how much similarities we had in music. So coming back home, he moved back from California, and we were like, why don't we just play like an acoustic open mic gig? And he's like, all right, cool. And we were like, well, we need a name. We can't go just Tom and Trevor.
And Trevor.
Yeah.
We show up and we were just kind of talking. Like, we both were history majors. We were both secondary ed. We wanted to teach pretty much.
Yeah.
And I applied for 150 jobs. I don't know how many you applied for.
Wow.
Many.
Many. A lot of jobs. But anyway, so ended up getting a job working in like a career service capacity at a college where I was helping other people find jobs.
Yeah.
But I couldn't even find a job in my own field. And I thought that was pretty ironic.
Pretty ironic.
Yeah, definitely born out of irony.
Yeah.
It's like, it's taken on kind of more of a deeper meaning. I think we ultimately, we want people to feel good when they listen to our music. And it's kind of like we've done our job, right? Like we've done right by people. So it does have some substantial meaning, but mostly it was just like, man, getting a job is hard. Let's just name the band. The jobs.
Right.
Yeah.
With your name being Tom and Trevor.
Yeah.
TNT never crossed your mind as a band name? The two of you?
That sounds pretty sweet. We still have time to change it. Yeah, man, we're not that big yet. So
there's more guys in the band now.
Right.
The moment's passed.
I don't know if Ted Turner would be coming knocking.
Yeah, no shit.
There's a sponsor right there.
Yeah.
So opportunity lost.
I know, man.
So today I listened to your is it an EP, 5-track EP, the Sailing Upon. I used to think anything below 10 tracks was like an EP, but then the Foo Fighters came out with a 9-song album. So I don't know what. I was listening to. Is that your most recent work?
Yeah,
it is, eh?
Yeah.
And I read your bio and it said that you're into alt rock, punk, and kind of surf music, right?
Yeah.
Your song, "The Sunrise Over the Hill." I was telling Nate before you guys got on that it gave me personally a sort of Angel and Airwave vibe.
Cool.
Do you guys dig those dudes? Like, were you Blink fans back in the day?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah?
We've heard that a little bit before too.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's less like Angel Airwaves is very like all kinds of echo and synth, like crazy amounts. But the drum beat through the whole instrumental reminded me very Angel Airwave-esque, and I was like, I'm gonna ask them about that because I grew up I was a big Blink fan when I was growing up, and and I thought maybe this is what they're talking about, their punk kind of alt rock sound. Like, is that what they're going for? And so I was curious. That's the only song that reminded me of it.
No, they're great. We're both big Blink 182 fans. Our drummer is a massive Blink 182 fan. And we listen, I listen to a lot of British punk. And Tom listens to punk too. And it's kind of finds its way into, there's a lot of pop in punk music that I think people forget about. And we kind of love that melodic pop sound, and it sort of just finds its way into our songs. It's pretty cool.
You mentioned Blink too. That was actually one of our first songs as a band. Actually, it was written probably 4 years before we even started playing live.
Yeah. I wrote the lyrics to that song when I was 19, and it never really took form. And we just built the song around the lyrics. And the crazy thing is it's a lot of rhyming. It's a lot of words. It's I think it's 1,200 words or something. And it's really relevant in 2020, right? It's this film reel type feel where like your mind is just on rapid release, and just kind of reflecting on like what's kind of going on in society, especially like in our country right now. So it's weird how that happens. Like you write lyrics, years ago, and they end up being like really pertinent to what's going on today. It's crazy.
And how have things been for you guys too? Because obviously we're in complete lockdown. Actually, I think we're getting lifted shortly to some extent. We don't even know. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. How has it been like for you guys? Have you been able to play at all, or are you guys still pretty much locked down?
Yeah, we haven't been able to play, and it's kind of, most of the venues are closed down. Like they're not really having bands. But
we actually played. So the night before like everything shut down, we had a show at this place called Stella's, which was like really cool place. It's, if you've ever been to Cleveland, it's got like right by the stadium, and I think it used to be Alice Cooper's joint, but like it was like this really cool Cleveland local place. And we show up, and there's like, they announced like there's a pandemic, and we had no idea. We're like, what is Corona? And we had like one person there to watch our show, and we're like, this is kind of strange. But yeah, so we played there, and we were actually the last band to ever play at that location because they shut down like a couple months later.
Yeah, a lot of venues.
And now are they shut down for good, or are they just
for
good?
Wow.
Yeah,
that's the one thing we were actually talking to Andrew's brother, who helped us kind of get along and to kind of put us I guess on the clock of what we actually wanted to do and what we wanted to get out of this. So we had him on in the last episode, which will be airing soon, but I don't, it's crazy to think of what has happened and how this has all come to be, and where, like now you've got these places that are starting to shut down. And we were talking about in Toronto, same thing. It's like in Toronto, there's just places that are gone, and he does. And you don't know whether it's hard, right? What's going to be left to play, to go to when this is all over. Right?
Yeah. How are you guys managing like mentally and?
Yeah, I mean, mentally, I think we're good. I mean, we both have our day jobs, which I think we're very fortunate for, right?
We have our jobs.
Yeah, we have our jobs.
We have the jobs.
Yeah, there it is, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll never do that
again. No, it's all good, man.
That's the last one.
You got to do it.
But I mean, but we said it even before that this podcast, being able to connect with you guys and other artists so far, and I know that you'd actually reached out and said that John, you guys have kind of connected with him before.
Oh yeah, John Mitchie.
John Mitchie. Yeah. So we just had him on, and it's funny because I don't think if Corona was around, we would have ever gone this route. True. And this was kind of our way of playing gigs at this point.
Yeah.
Trying to stick to kind of 30-40 minute podcasts, but really it's just to chat with other bands, because I felt like that's what we would do otherwise if we weren't playing. Right.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point, man.
Yeah.
Guys,
so
I wanted to apologize. I stepped out. My son, he's 3-year-old.
It's all good.
It's funny. I asked him the other day, I'm like, who's your favorite Jobs member? And he goes, Mr. Trevor. I'm like, not even your dad. I'm actually last place.
He knows like all the words to The Sunrise over the Hill. It's
really?
Cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's funny. My son, he'll be turning 8 this year, and then my daughter actually turning 5 tomorrow. Awesome. But he just said, well, we're doing a writing activity, and I'm going to do do it on your song chapter 2. And I was like,
wow.
I was like, it's cool in a way, but I'm like, could you pick something else? Like, I don't know how. I was like, I don't know about this yet, right? But yeah, it's pretty
let
neat.
Him go. Let him go. Let him do his thing.
It's all good. Hey, you never know. Any exposure is good exposure, I guess.
Yeah, his teacher might dig it. I don't know.
That's like a child's reaction is like the perfect bar, right? Like if they like it, man, you're onto something.
That's why my son loves Funky Town so much.
That's just going with it. Well, and I mean, I think it was my son was singing along to a lyric that and I think it was in chapter 2 that we have, and my wife was like, what song is that? That's all good.
Is that an elephant?
Sorry about that.
That's all good.
No, that was Oscar, yeah.
But my wife was like, what song is that? And he's like, oh, that's Dad's song. That's
pretty cool.
Chapter 2. Yeah, it's just really so neat, how they can just pick that stuff up and go. So
your wife should know by now. That's she lost points. She should know.
No kidding. Yeah,
she should know that song.
You're right.
Oh my goodness.
It's funny.
That's awesome. So so how's your fans to your music been through all this? Are you still keeping contact and releasing? Have you recorded anything at home?
So 2020 we were like really productive. We literally knocked out all those songs and recorded, mixed, released, did it all, you know, and it was awesome. We were process driven and just knocked it out. And then since January, when we released the EP, the pandemic is really bad, and we have some at-risk family members and stuff. So we're just being smart about it, and haven't been able to get together very much. So it's been tough, but Tom and I write and play when we can, and you know, we're generating ideas, and we're hoping to like get something out in the spring. You know, but it's crazy, man. You release an EP, right? And there's like so much that goes into it, as you guys know. And then it's hot for like 3 weeks, and then it's like people are like, okay, what's next? Like, and that's something we're trying to like get used to.
We were just talking. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's funny you mentioned that, because we just got our kind of 4 weeks. You know, hey, it's been out for 4 weeks. Right. And it's funny you say that, because exactly the way I felt. I was like, wow, like it was like this rise, and then all of a sudden now plateau, and then it's like, okay, well, I guess we got to really push what's next. I mean,
what do you guys got for me?
Right, exactly. And I feel, and I don't know what you guys
start a whole soul out there, and people are like, yeah, what's next?
Exactly. We were talking to this before, but I don't know what you guys feel. I feel like right now it's a whole lot of people want either singles, a bunch of singles, because they just want to see what's next, and these in EPs. Now we recorded a full album, and in the intent of putting out a full album.
Yeah.
And then we kind of were like, you know what, maybe being the first one, we should break it down and try and go 2 EPs, and then, you know, put out the full album. And it gave it actually, it's worked out in the end, because it's been able to give us some extra time to look at some of our songs and reflect and make changes that we needed, that maybe, you know, had we rushed it out there, it wouldn't have been as refined as what it should be. But
it's cool.
I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Like, it seems that way, doesn't it?
It does. We were just talking about how, you know, in the social media age, there's so much content out there. You know, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because this is why we're talking to you guys. This is like the beauty of social media, the beauty of connecting.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like there's a zillion trillion options, and everyone is trying to get a piece of the pie. It kind of hurts when you don't have, you know, those gatekeepers in a way.
Yeah. And I think there's just so much mass of content out there that like people are just overloaded, and everybody's vying for attention. And like, you know, we're just like weird dudes from Cleveland, and we're not like, you know, like it's like if we post a cat video, like we're going to get like triple the views than if we post like a song. Right. Exactly. And it's crazy how that works, but we're kind of just figuring all that out. Like we don't know how to market. We have no idea what we're doing. You know, but I was going to say, like, I listened to your EP today. It's awesome. I really like the song with the string arrangements. I think it's called Down the Road.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the cello.
The cello. Yeah. We've talked about this before on the podcast.
It's really cool. It's really cool. Yeah. And then the single that you released recently, I love that. It's like that echoed guitar and like the driving. That reminds me of like early 90s like emo, but it's really mellow, and it's got that like pop sensibility. So you guys are doing cool stuff.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, you've definitely hit it in terms of the 90s. I mean, that's really where we grew up listening to, right? And obviously the same with you guys as well, right?
For sure.
And it's clearly going through our music. I mean, we're excited to kind of push our next single out in the next be a week. This Friday, we're kind of going that route, right? We're going to try and push another song out and see what happens, and then the other EP. But it's really interesting, like how this has all come to be. And you're right, with social media, everyone wants, you know, they want, like, I was just thinking about when you said the cat video, The Lawyer. I don't know if you guys have you seen The Lawyer?
If we were like a hot chick with a big butt.
Well,
like,
exactly.
I mean,
there's a video going around that's viral right now of a lawyer and
it becomes a cat.
It becomes a cat.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Exactly. We've all seen that, right? And it's such a ridiculous video. It's funny as hell. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But like you said, you can't necessarily get the streams to your music. But I think part of it is content, and part of it too is, I mean, people like what they like. And I don't know about you guys. What's the music like in Cleveland in terms of promoting your, like? Yeah. Do you have anything local that's promoting your stuff?
No.
Yeah. It's hard, man.
Yeah, it is. It's weird. Like, we've found that Twitter is definitely the place for like networking and camaraderie and support systems. And I think you guys would probably agree. Yeah. Instagram is kind of weird. It's like, it's got advantages, but it's like, again, where's the cat videos, where's the where's the cat filters. But yeah, locally it's kind of competitive, which is strange, and the pandemic adds a whole nother element to it. But we found a lot more help amongst like artists from the UK and radio stations from the UK,
Canada too.
Canada, like Northern England, we're getting a ton of plays there. Scotland, so, and that's like humbling. That's really humbling. Like to have your music played in other countries is pretty charming. So it's kind of sucked not to have the support in Cleveland, but it's just, I don't know, it's competitive. What do you think?
I mean, I really agree with that. I think, the day of like a local scene is, unless you live in a town like Portland or Nashville or something like that, they're taught to do that. But here it's like, there's so many options, you can just turn on the radio or podcast, whatever you want. And like, it used to be kind of like backing your hometown band, but nobody really cares. They just want, what's already out there, what's already famous. They don't want to support kind of the journey on the way up.
It's gone a lot harder to establish yourself because even record labels are looking for bands who are already established to the point where they don't need a record label. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. And without live shows, it's almost impossible. We're getting the same. We're not getting anything out of Canada. We're getting UK and Scotland as well.
That's cool, man.
That's where we're playing, which is like, and I feel like I've always had that rock kind of in their back pocket. They never left that kind of sound. And whereas like in Canada, we everything here is top 40. And I don't know how it is over there, but we don't have an independent station here that is like looking to promote independent bands. We don't have that.
The only love that we've had in Canada is I think I feel terrible now. I should have probably, I think it's KB Radio, but they're on Twitter.
Nice.
Okay. I don't know if you've check it out, because they're always looking for independent music. There's tons. That's what you're right. I mean, Twitter's been just a blessing in disguise in terms of being able to get music out, and all these independent radios supporting us, all of us, right? Anyways, I believe it's KB Radio, and I apologize ahead of time. I'll try and fix it up. But anyways, the guy that runs it is actually out of London, Ontario, which I didn't realize until after we made contact. But realistically, besides that, and a local university who's put our album out, we don't know how much it gets airplayed, because they don't necessarily post it like, the independent radios where they'll tag you and let you know, right? But yeah, it's been incredible. The UK is certainly embraced. It sounds like you as well. And I know some other people that we follow, a 12 Years band who we've had on there from Barrie. They're getting quite a bit of love as well from the UK too. So it's really interesting, that it's nice, but it would be nice to be something local as well, right? To be able to hang your hat on and go, okay.
So what actually motivates you to write and play and record? I mean, what is kind of the motivation behind that?
Well, for me, it's I had tons of song ideas from like being like 20 years old, and they never really developed, and so when the pandemic hit, actually before the pandemic hit, I was just getting back into playing bass. I screwed around with guitar for a bit, and I got back into bass, and I just started fucking around with the ideas I had. If it was just like a cool verse, I just fucking play it. And then I never used Instagram to promote anything. I just threw it on Instagram. That's how I knew Nate. He's my buddy. We never talked about music ever. Like we played songs together and shit. And so he saw one of the videos, and he just sent me like a random video of him playing guitar over it. And that's how this whole thing started. Yeah. And then it happened so organically. So now it's like I'm home. I didn't know how to use like MIDI instruments or anything. I didn't know how to record. And so that's all I've done in this time off. I've just been at home learning, like you said, Down the Road has cello in it, and that was just me like literally fucking around with different plugins and I found the cello and I loved it, so I used it, and then the song was written around that, sort of, right? So it's to me, it's just like getting ideas out. Like I think that this would be a cool verse, or now I play on a keyboard, and like this is a cool like 3 notes, and then I can write a song around that, and that's just. It started off as complete boredom, but now it's becoming, for me, and I'll let Nate go next, but it's becoming more like, I can see it as being like a chasing record song. And so I record it, the bass, I put a drum on it, and then I send to Nate. I'm like, what do you think? I think this could be a good sound for album 2 or whatever. So for me, it's like, it started off being like, I'm so bored, I have nothing really to do. And now it's more of like an outlet to like not go nuts. I'm like, this is so, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm writing it. And we have like a library of just like instrumentals that we just went back and forth with that we could choose from. But Nate, what's it?
Well, no, yeah. And I mean, it's tough because I've played music. I was never really in a band. I've always played though. I've kind of been like one of those closet guitar players. I just play.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that I'm, this unbelievable guitar player, because I'm not. I know so many people that just blow me away.
I suck, but yeah,
we kind of the same boat.
You know what I mean? I think maybe that's everyone's,
Yeah.
and then and I mean, I also didn't know I could sing. That was the other funny part with all this came about. But it was one of the things. I've always loved music. I've always loved playing it, but I've never had the drive or the reason, I guess, to write. I've always kind of had maybe an inkling like, I'd like to write a song, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I'll fool around and I'll just kind of lay off. And then when that started, when like I said, I just kind of, it was more of a joke, hey, I'll throw this back at Andrew. And then it just kind of went off from there.
Yeah.
And then with our EP, because it's called The Stories of Others, it really, the songs were either stories of other people and their experiences, and then kind of tied that all in together. So each song kind of has its own little element. I mean, there's definitely a theme to most of them once it's all heard in a full album for the most part. But that's kind of where, when I'm writing, it was really just on the the stories of others and their experiences, and that's kind of where I pulled it from. And like Andrew would pull a title or an idea together, and then I would just go ahead and write based on what I could feel out of that, or experiences that either I've had, but mostly of others, is really where it came to be.
That's cool. But it still has kind of your personal touch on that, which is kind of neat.
It's kind of
story,
different.
But
right, exactly, right. Yeah. So, what about you guys? Like, what drives you guys to write? Like, what's like with your influences? Where do you get your inspiration from then?
I feel like when I write songs, I cannot write a happy song. I'm a pretty happy person.
Me neither, man.
Legitimately, I'm a happy person.
Everything sucks.
It's funny you say that too, because don't you find too that like happy songs just don't sell too? Like, I feel like everyone can relate to a sad song. Everyone's had a moment in their life where they can relate to it.
Sure.
So it's almost, I don't want to say easier, but I feel like it's more relatable. I don't know.
Yeah. I think for me, like sometimes it's like I'm going for a certain guitar sound. Like I love a lot of like shoegaze and 80s British music, and I'll try to like capture that and like morph it with like surf guitar, but it's always pop driven, like, because I love pop music. And so a lot of times I'll attack it that way, or sometimes I'll write a poem, and then try to build the song around that. And Tom will help me, and the guys will help me, with arrangement. And then sometimes I write stuff that's personal, but that gets boring, right? Like, how much can you write about yourself?
Unless you've gone through some severe hardship.
Right, for sure. And I think there's value in it. Like, people can relate to it, and that's awesome. But I think writing like narrative wise, like from someone else's perspective, is cool. And like the last song on the EP it's about Joan of Arc, right? And like you would never think, like, listening to it, but like it's like her perspective on like the 100 Years War, and then we have Sereno, which is like a personal song just about the pandemic and like oscillating emotions and trying to rationalize like your past and move forward. And so it's like it shifts a lot. But
you also do a lot of storytelling. I know that song that we recorded, I don't even know the real name, the zombie song.
Oh, great.
But it's just like epic, like story.
Yeah,
much like
like fictional stuff, right? Like just like, oh, what if this person is like turning into a zombie but still trying to like their moral compass was still kind of there, and they're trying to fight this urge to like be a zombie and eat other people. So like it's cool, like you can just go wild with music and go wherever you want to. There's no limits, so that's
it's true. Yeah, cool. You can. And so you said you were in California?
I was for about a year after grad school, and then when I moved home I had like all this stuff in my head that I needed to get out. And like you were saying, like the ideas were there, and I played guitar in high school and then through college a little bit, and then just tried to start formulating structures around these thoughts, and then put chords around them, and then get better at guitar, and just get more process driven about what I was doing. And
we were always creating. I mean,
Yeah.
even in college before we were a band, like we would make rap songs for our friends, just
Yeah.
like joke rap songs.
Yeah.
We made like a Cleveland rap song. Like,
watch out for the next rap single coming from us.
I would say like all together, we've probably done like, I don't know, like 50, 75 songs in our lifetime just creating stuff.
Right.
So it's not
Just
stuff that most people will hear, but it's stuff
No.
that like at the time, you know, meant something and it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's funny because some of that stuff you could end up going back to depending on what it is, right? And you know, looking back at it, rearrange it and go, oh fuck, this actually might work.
Right.
Yeah. Do you guys do that? Do you pull stuff from the past? Yeah.
Andrew has for sure. He's got much more in his back pocket in terms of content. Like I said, I never really started actually physically writing until we really kind of decided to go on this route. At least, you know, writing it, I guess we're even just writing it down somewhere where I'd be able to keep it and find it again.
Yeah.
I've written stuff before, but I mean, I wouldn't have any idea where I put it, or it's probably
that's fun. It's a balance for sure. I'm like a very transient person. Like I have to feel like this is fresh, it's new, it's going somewhere. But like a lot of stuff you do in the past, it's good, right? If it means something to you, then maybe you can channel it.
I'm more of the historian when it comes to that. Like I look back at old songs and I'm like, man, that was actually really good. Like, why don't we play it live tonight?
But we're our own worst enemies. Like we end up, you guys probably do it too. You scrap 95% of the stuff you're working on because you're like, oh, this is shit. You know, like nobody's gonna care about this. Like at least for us, right? Do you guys go through that too, where you're like, almost all your material, you're just like, nah.
Oh, there's a ton. We have a ton of stuff that I don't know if we'll go back on and look at. Maybe when we have we're like writing block and we're like, shit, we have to go back and maybe that will spur some ideas. But there's a lot of ideas that I had that I thought this could be something. It's just as is not good enough. And so that's why it's so good. I think it's a good thing to tap into your past stuff because you could have a great like verse or a good intro idea, but you never really connected it. And then, you know, you let that sit for years and you go back to it and you're like, this one chorus that you now have, you add to that. And that's a fucking it's like a gem. It all just comes together. So I wouldn't turn my back on any of your old stuff. Like it might be shit to you now. You're like, this is shit. I've grown so much, but you never know, man. Like you never know what someone else could do in the band that you know never
and
they could throw something on it and that's why with Nate, I also done some stuff that, you know, never worked before. I never changed it, but I'm like, do you like this? Because then he could do something with it that I couldn't get out of my own head, right?
Actually, that's kind of like with Fix Me, right? With the single Fix Me. That was a older song that you had written, right, Andrew? Before?
No. It was it was just a song I
wasn't the lyrics? The lyrics
were as I wrote the song, I had the idea of what the song should be about.
And then that got all changed anyways, but but
I almost
the problem was
him up.
it was have you guys ever had this? So Andrew sent me this and like I said, we've never been able to jam together. We had maybe a moment in time where we could have in the summer, but it never happened. I mean, it just wasn't, I guess, worth it. I'm the same type. I have my dad's 91, so there just wasn't you know, really I try to keep a low profile with all this. But he sent me the Fix Me and the melody that he had sent in terms of what the lyrics were, and I think you tried to sing it as well or so, I don't know. Anyways, I couldn't get it out of my head. I tried really to write the first version, Andrew's like, I hate it. He's like, it's not that I hate I hate the lyrics. He's like, you need to write it. You need to do something. It took me like in a solid 3 weeks to a month. I think I wrote 2 songs in between trying to fix it, just trying to clean the slate. Have you guys ever had that where you're trying to work on a song and you just can't, and you like you can't fix it? Like it was
the other day we were just kind of sharing music. I had probably like 5 to 7 song ideas, and all the ones that I like thought had the most potential, we were like, all right. But then the one that I didn't really think had a lot of potential was like, you heard something in it and like we worked on it and it's coming together. Like it sounds like a song.
It's so weird how that happens.
It's just other like different wavelengths, and the band, like Tom has a really good ear for melody. Like he just hears melodies really well. And like La Serena, the first song on the EP was stuck. Like you were saying, the bridge, there was no bridge, and like we couldn't get it to sort of glue together. And as a band, it kind of just like evolved in a practice, like back when we actually could play. And it just happened, right? Like I don't know, like Mark hit like 3 notes on the bass, and then we were like, okay, stop. That's good. Like let's build there. And so that's the advantage of having like 4 people. And we have a pretty good process for like fleshing out songs. It's just never like ego or arguing. And I think sometimes people are afraid to be in bands because they think there's going to be that element, but we've never had that. It's more just like, how can we enhance each other? How can we pivot off each other? And I think that's pretty special to have that.
I think it's and it just all hit me now for some reason, but it's funny that you guys liked Blink-182 and you have a Tom and a Mark in the band.
Yeah,
that's right. And Mark plays bass.
That's true.
That's crazy.
I sent our music to Mark Hoppus's like customer service email.
Yeah,
they haven't responded yet.
Hey, if you're listening,
yeah. That's right in spam, buddy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I found this list of like all these curators, and I was like, fuck it. I'll send a mass email, and like it was like Mark Hoppus's customer service, and no response yet. So
we're still waiting. You're still waiting, eh?
Yeah.
We got so it. What do you guys do to get your stuff out right now? Obviously, because we can't play shows. Are you guys looking kind of the same thing as we are, like on Twitter, looking for people?
Yeah. So we've done a lot of radio, like indie radio stations have been super helpful, supportive. Different curators here and there. Getting people to respond is tough. You kind of have to like hound them a little bit. So lots of playlists, lots of indie radio, podcasts to a degree. You guys are our first podcast, so like thank you for having us on.
Coming.
Super nice of you guys to do this, but just kind of getting on playlists as much as we can, and I don't even know if that's the key, but I don't know about what you guys have done on your end.
Yeah, how do you measure success with your music?
Right.
I'm more of the boat. I know that Andrew, we actually talked about this with his brother a little bit. We touched on it in terms of one of the things is trying to get people close to you to care, but the thing is you can't, because they're not necessarily going to be, and we talked about, it's not going to be real fans, and there's there's no offense to be taken on that. It's just
true.
They like their music, and that's it. You have to make, people enjoy what you're doing. Right. And I think the biggest thing is, as long as, we're all enjoying making music, that at the end of the day, that's success, right?
Yep.
After that, everything is gravy. I don't think you can go into this and go, hey, we're going to start, millions of
rock and roll
dollars,
band.
Quit our jobs.
Hey, there you go. There's other one.
I'm not gonna say anything, I promise. Quit your job.
But that's the thing, right? I mean, sure, I check numbers, right, to see how it's at, but more of just seeing where is it going, and then maybe what's our next move. I really just use the numbers in terms of that. But otherwise, I'm happy that people are listening and get the, honest feedback. Obviously the support, that's, to me, that's success right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty humbling. I mean, going to Spotify and just looking at the analytics and seeing like, hey, 6 people are listening to your album right now. It's pretty humbling.
Somebody in Luxembourg is listening, or somebody in
Estonia,
South Africa, or wherever. It's cool. Yeah. We've like, you mentioned the friends, like we've kind of been that, like, your friend's band we were that for a long time. And it's like, you feel weird, like, hey, friends, this is our band, right? Like, they're not going to be objective. And so we were kind of in that like lull for a while, but that's, again, like, been really empowering with Twitter, is like fellow artists are like, oh no, like, I like this is good. Like, it's objective feedback. And I think you guys are probably like us. It's like, there's people out there that are going to love your music. Right. And like I love what I heard from you guys. And so you found me through networking through Twitter. Right. And so it's like, how do you find the listener, right? How do you find the active listener who's going to support you and follow you and comment on your posts and buy your music? And because those people are out there, man. It's just Spotify has a lot of oversight over what those people see, right? And so like it's kind of figuring out a way of, how do we get to these people? How do we find them? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think to me it's just and this is probably speaks more of me than the listeners of our music, but I am so just emotionally attached to the album. I thought the album, the whole process, like, it took us a year to record it. We had to learn how to record. We did the whole album from our homes.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll jump maybe back into that, how you guys. We'll keep going, Andrew.
Keep going.
Yeah, so for me, it was like a solid year's work, right? Like just a solid year of like, and this is stuff no one sees, right? You're at home and you're writing a song, and then you're writing lyrics, and you come together and you record it, and you have to put together verses and choruses and all that countless hours of unpaid time that people don't see behind the scenes. So to me, it was just this. I'm so proud of this album and so much work we put into it, and like
Right.
no one could do anything, but I was like obsessed with like, got to mix this tonight. I want this done because I'm so like, I'm in the zone right now. So for when it comes out, and then like you guys said, and 3 weeks later it's completely forgotten, and you're like, I gotta write an album too now, but like. Then you think like, man, I was so proud of all those tracks, and if it gets forgotten by the people around us that don't have to give a shit and obviously don't give a shit, it just, to me, because I'm so emotionally attached to it, I'm like, man, like I think like, would I give a shit if someone showed me their album? Probably not. I'd listen to it,
right.
But
it's hard not to get crushed if somebody says
right. Would I share it in my stories? Would I talk about it every day? I'd like, no. So for me, it's just like, I don't know anyone doing this like around us in my city. And so to me, it seems so unique that I thought maybe it would get more like, people would say that's pretty fucking unique and pretty cool. Yeah. And the fact that that didn't happen set me back in a way like, shit, like no one cares. And so I come to terms with no one caring now. Like you're right. People do care.
They do. No, they do.
But they do care. That's what we've had to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's cool. I don't know, man. Like meeting you guys, right? Like we care. And I was gonna say, like, you guys always have each other, right? And you both understand like all the work you put in the process, and like you're always gonna have that connection where like you guys know the reality of what went into this,
and you've created something that will last forever.
Yeah,
that's true too, which is pretty amazing. I think a part of it too is, and I'm sure you guys is not being able to play gigs too, because the minute the minute you open for someone, mostly they're there for the other people. And I mean, hey, I've had countless bands that I now listen to religiously on repeat. One will be, I mean, Matt Mays, for example. He opened for Sam Roberts for years. It was always them, the Trues, and they're all Canadian bands. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but I would have never gotten into Matt Mays had it not been going to those shows and seeing him open, and now he's headlining whatnot. And then his one of his guitarists, Adam Baldwin, he plays in his band, but then now he has his own single stuff, and now I listen to his, and so do my kids.
It kind of branches out from there.
It kind of branches out, right? And the same thing. There's a band in BC called Deer Rouge. They're phenomenal. I saw them live open for the Arkells in Sarnia, and I've never heard of them. And I was like, wow, these guys are phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I think part of it too is that, like Andrew says, like you put it out, and like I think in the social media world, it's gone for 3 weeks. Like in 3 weeks, right? No one cares. But had we been able to play it right now and kind of not necessarily promote it? I mean, you are promoting it when you're playing your gigs, right? But I think had we had a chance to play it right now, I think it would have made it a little bit more was worthwhile, right? I don't know if that makes sense.
I agree. Yeah, we talked about that before coming on. Like we never even got to really properly listen to the EP as a band and just sort of like enjoy it, enjoy the moment and let it sink in. And like we made this from nothing. Like it literally was nothing, and we created it, and we haven't been able to play gigs, and that's been hard. I think you guys can relate. It's so
when it comes to recording, then how did you guys go to did you do it in a studio, or do you guys do it on your own?
So if you go to our Spotify, you'll see 2 albums or 2 EPs on there. So
I did see that.
We did in my basement. Like I didn't know anything.
That was back in, I think that was 2015, right?
Yeah, we did everything.
We didn't have proper mics for drums. So
we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Straight up. We had no idea.
But we also didn't have money. That's it. So as a band, we came together. We said, 2020. It sounds like a great year to something.
Let's make 2020 our year, man. It's gonna work out.
That's the ones that fucked it up, eh?
Yeah. I think we screwed everybody over.
So, but we ended up picking a professional studio. I think Superior Sound. Recording with Jim Stewart, who has done like that. The whole studio has done like bands like Incubus, Fiona Apple, some other bands. So you know, they're professional. They definitely know what they're doing. Really great. The thing that I think we missed was kind of some of the production and some of the, I guess, investment in our music, because we think our music is okay, but like we don't know. Yeah, we don't know. I guess we're looking for a little bit more like professional input on like, hey, this is what you guys can do to add layers or, you know, make it sound a certain way.
Yeah, I think like next time, you know, we need to ask ourselves like some essential things, like what do we want out of this? What do we want our production to sort of, what bands do we want that production to sort of emulate? You know, and like we need that like direction, right, of a producer who can say, this is really cool, but like you can do X, Y, and Z. You know, we just like we kind of need that, and because we don't fully know, like I don't produce music, right? Like I know how to mix a little bit, but I think if you can find a producer that like is hands-on and can sort of elevate, that's huge, right? Like, but it all costs money, as you guys know.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
So
I mean, that's part of the reason why, you know, for this first one, we did it, you know, all in house.
Mind you, sounds good, man.
Thank you.
That's good. Like doing it all yourselves, like it sounds way better than the stuff we did in 2015. Like there's like, you can hear like keys jingling in the background and like keys being more.
It's almost like
bad. The songs are cool, but the production we didn't know what we were doing. And like,
I mean, also too, I mean, like you said, though, without money too, and getting the right equipment, or even just getting some equipment that's passable, right?
Yeah.
But also you think about it though, 5 years ago, though, things have changed too, a lot.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Technology and what's out there and what's available. And the shit you can pull off, you know, like I said, having a cello in a song and you can't play strings. Like,
there's orchestra plugins that are free, right?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. It's phenomenal.
That's what we use.
It's amazing, man. I can't play a cello, I can't play a violin, but I know how to play piano, and I can press a key that makes this cool sound, like right. So it's awesome. Yeah. Do you guys think do you think people's attention spans since, let's say, 2015 or 2010 even, like, is that just like how things are now, that like albums just aren't a thing? Like albums aren't gonna be like.
Yes. Short answer is yes. I think that COVID, when COVID first hit, I thought that, you know, this would be a great time to release an album because everyone's at home and
there's nothing better else to do.
Like Netflix, how they got so much like more viewership, and like they can release shit right now and everyone's gonna watch it, right? The Tiger King is like exactly
dude, right?
Watched it.
So they have a show about. They have a show about fucking chess, and I watched it.
Right.
And I fucking
watched it.
You know what I mean? I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But I just think that what's happening and what this has all showed is the attention span of people the average attention span was already terrible with phones and you know, going back to what you guys said about Instagram kind of being like,
oh yeah,
Instagram is more about who, like the amount of followers you have.
Yes.
You want to have no one not following anybody. It's cool not to follow anybody. And
it's
it's just like you want to be able to like your connection
ratios, bro.
Right. Yeah. And your connection is like heart, and that's it. Like you could literally say nothing ever to someone on your list, and you think, oh, they like me because they like this picture.
Right.
And
it's an epidemic, man.
Right. So we already lost. I think so. Going back, just a full album, I think we will only see as established artists, and that's only because the record labels are probably not making the money they used to, and a full album, you know, someone's got to think, whoa, Drake has a full album, I should listen to this whole thing, right? But even like I said, the Foo Fighters just released a 9-song album, which is maybe that's a coming of times. Maybe 9 songs might be it, right? But for artists like us, man, like if we released our album as a full album, no one would talk about it anymore. We'd be like, that's it.
That'd be out of content.
We're with you.
Yeah, so it's almost like releasing a single by single for every track might be the way to go, but then I don't know. I feel like the more you do like that, the more people are gonna be like, oh, here's another fucking single. So
right.
You gotta find that sweet spot.
You gotta because then they're gonna start going, oh, sweet, another single. When is this? When are they gonna write an EP or when are they gonna write an album? Right? And we were talking to John about that, and he said he goes, I hope this is like I really believe that eventually it'll go back to albums, but I think something's got to change.
Vinyl is in right now, but vinyl's expensive.
It sure is. Exactly. Vinyl is so expensive, right? And you've got to master it completely different to vinyl, right?
It's like,
so
it shows in every, like if you listen to listen to like an old Bob Dylan record, or like Townes Van Zandt, like one of my favorite songwriters, or even like Springsteen, from like the 80s.
yeah.
And it's like the storytelling is like indicative of the times. And it's like people were like writing about navigating life because they had to do it through music, and they couldn't cope like through technology necessarily, or Netflix, or and it speaks to the lyrics, it speaks about the storytelling, like the poetry and the music. And that's something that kind of bums me out. Like, and so when I find an artist in 2020 that's doing stuff like that, like I'm immediately attracted to it, because they're going outside the box and they're tapping into like being a human, and using human tactics to deal with things, and not just like, let me sit in front of this chess show for like 4 hours. And don't get me wrong, I watched it too.
I watched it.
Like the
was great.
stupid stuff that I've watched this year, like every single Star Wars thing imaginable I've watched, right? And like, not that it's stupid, but you just go down the rabbit hole and you just watch and watch and watch and watch. But let me watch this beaver video, or like, let me watch, it's like, just like,
and you're right though, like the even the attention span gets shorter and shorter, because you think like, look at TikTok, how it's blowing up. And what is it, like 20
right.
second videos? Like that's your attention span. And then
are you guys on TikTok?
We are, but we have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah,
we're not even on it.
I have a flip phone.
Yeah,
that's probably best, honestly.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
I wouldn't know the first thing about. I can't even keep up with Twitter and Instagram. It's
I know.
so hard. Like,
honestly, we did TikTok just more of like just to get the name, right?
Yeah.
Just to have it. But no, I think like, and I said to Andrew too, like with having TikTok, like those, at least for bands, unless you're established and you're not even putting out music content, I feel like, even if you are, right, it's just like videos of you doing something. It could be even just recording, but it's got to be something funny and engaging for other people, right?
Yeah.
Or else it's just going to be sitting there, no one's going to watch it.
Yeah,
you have to have your cat dancing with a big butt to your song in the background. Then that's how it goes,
and then
viral.
That's how it's going to blow up.
That's it, man. That's it.
You got to just put those things together, man.
But so I don't think that it's going to change anytime soon. I think that people are just we're all kind of just like, that's it. I read a big article about songs and how artists are now being told to write songs that are less than 3 minutes, because it's not about the length of the song, it's about how many times it gets streamed on a service. That's wild. If you have a 2-minute song, someone might play it 3 times, or if it was 4 minutes, it might be 2 times, and it'll be the same amount of time they could have listened to it. So you get the extra stream. So that's where it's going. It's going to the attention span. I think the industry itself is just going to point towards their algorithm of people and and data. Like the average video, it gets like, if it's 30 minutes long on Facebook, it gets watched for 3 minutes.
Right.
The average video. Right. So it's just that's it, man. People are just like, what's next? There's, like you guys already said, there's so much stuff in your phone, so much
content
that there's no need to wait. When an ad shows up, you move on, because you can't wait the 10 seconds for that ad. You don't give a shit enough about that video. So I find
like, we're friends with so many artists on Twitter. Like, I do all the pre-saves for them, right? And I want to listen to every song, and I want to support them, and I want to share it. And I share a lot of music on Twitter because I love these people, and they write great songs. But like, even that, keeping up with that, it's like I'm on roller skates, right? I'm like, man, new single, and I can't even keep up.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Like to even walk into the curating playlist area, like I don't know how I would do it. I don't have time, So you're exactly right. We're kind of just going in that direction where it's just scroll. I got to be engaged in the first 5 seconds. And if I'm not, like, see ya.
Yeah. I think, obviously we all know that streaming is not going to be lucrative in any sort of way. I mean,
like 0.003.
Right. It's, like I said, streaming was really great in terms of that's what people's album sale, just to be able to be heard. And then your concerts are now where you make money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think we could buy like a burger maybe with the streams, maybe one beer, like
maybe exactly right. So I think
free beer.
But cool, right? So it's the tough part, right? Is being able to, you're like, okay, I want to get, obviously you want the streams, but at the same time, it's not the metric that I'd think that you have to look at. You have to find other ways to get out. And we were talking about this before, but playing live is going to be the only way once everything gets back to some sort of normalcy, I think, to finally get this music out. But like I said, we're all trying, and I agree with you 100% on Twitter. As much as I try and follow and listen. I mean, that's how I found you guys as well, as I saw it come up, and I listened to your EP before, like even before you sent it to me. And I try to listen because I was like, I'd love to hear new music, right? I miss going to live shows and hearing the opening bands. I'm weirdo that way. I want to be there there first, right?
It means a lot.
Because it's the same as when you look at it in our perspective of writing music. Now you kind of go, those people have put in a lot of time to get to that point, to be able to open for that band, and give them the time of day, and you never know, you may find a gem, right?
Exactly.
It meant a lot when you guys reached out and were like, "You want to come to the show?" I'm like, "Heck yeah!" Like we've never done a podcast, and I want to listen to your music like first thing, and like just to connect, get to know you, and I think we share that, whatever that is in our brains. We're intrigued, So I love what you guys are doing. The names are like, where did you guys come up with your name?
We like I said, we used to play sports. We played softball together.
Okay.
And then when softball was over, we would just play AHL on PS4 online.
Oh yeah, nice.
So we just do that like all winter long into spring. So when we were said, hey, we're gonna be a band, we thought we had to tie in our name to to sports, because that's what we did in the beginning. So I had a list of names that just were shit, and then Nate was like, "How about Chasing Records?" And it was like, I loved it, and both our holdback on it was, people think we're a record label as opposed to a band.
I'll be honest, I thought that once I saw you on Twitter.
Yeah. So that was the only drawback, but then to us, just made sense. Like we said, Nate was like, we played softball, we're always chasing, we wanted to win the whole thing.
We want the best record, right? We're chasing the record, and then the same thing was we're chasing the music, right? And at that time we were chasing records. We were literally chasing that record, trying to finish the album, and
I love that.
It just kind of fit.
I'm surprised there wasn't a curling team up there though.
No,
I love it.
While we lived in our igloos,
it is like minus 16 outside or 20.
Sure.
It's brutal. It's bad here, so I assume it's worse up there. It's pretty.
We're pretty close. Like, in relatively speaking, I mean, you got like, it's not far once we lake, but far over to Cleveland. But I'm sure
man, you guys ever come through, like let us
live
know.
show together.
That'd be sweet.
We would play. We'd love to play with you guys. There's tons of artists on Twitter where we're like, there's a lot of Midwest artists that we're like, man, we got to figure something out here. Like,
it would be, how cool would that be?
Right?
In the next, whatever, it could be year, whatever this kind of settles down, and we can even cross the border to see you guys, because that's not happening anytime soon. I don't think. But how sweet would that be if there was some sort of like Twitter indie fest of like people that have just connected and organized, and it'd be unbelievable to kind of meet people that way, right? And just
it would be the music equivalent to what the Reddit people did to the stock market.
That's
what I mean? We'd be like, fuck it. And then the record labels would be like, no, we're doing it ourselves.
And there is definitely truth to that. Like, indie artists have to band together. Like, you have to work together. You have to network. Being competitive with other indie artists, to me, is the most absurd thing.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like saying, like, somebody's like, man, I really want pizza, but nah, I'm gonna get this burger and then I'm never gonna eat pizza again. Like no one's gonna listen to your music and be like, I'm never gonna listen to this Jobs band because I only like chasing records.
Right.
Sorry. No. It's like the stupidest thing. Like, when you see indie artists competing with, it's like, no, dude, we're competing with like Taylor Swift. And, like, the artists that dominate the industry. Like, we're not competing against each other. So
no. I actually think that our sound would go well on the bill. The Jobs and records.
It would.
It'd be good on the bill. I think that fans of either band would dig the other band
for sure.
Just because I think it's very catchy. I think it's very melodic. It'll stay in their heads, right?
Absolutely. The melodic is a huge one. I was going to say, and that obviously goes to you, Tom. Like you said, if you got the melodies there, you can really hear it. I mean, it's fantastic. Sure. If people that are listening haven't heard the EP.
Oh, he's frozen. We lost him. This has never happened before. But I guess we should. Is he back? No, he's dead.
He's still frozen.
He's death staring me.
Yeah, he is.
But this will be a good time to probably get off this now, but you guys should shout out your @sats Twitter and Instagram. And
it's phenomenal.
So he's back.
Oh, hey, you're back.
You're back.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, hey, I don't know what happened. That's
you're kind of being weird.
I can hear. I have no idea.
It's gone.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways,
they were gonna give their and you have a website as well.
Yeah. So Instagram /The Jobs Cleveland. Facebook is the same. Not sure anyone uses Facebook for music.
No.
I honestly don't know. And then Twitter is The Jobs Band. So twitter.com/The Jobs Band. And then
we're working on a website. It's not a finished product, but it's thejobsband.com.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
All the streaming sites and all that good stuff. So,
Nate, are you live?
I think so. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
But I am alive.
You're glitchy. You're glitchy.
I have no idea. Who knows? Anyways.
Okay.
I really appreciate you guys being on. Thank you. I don't know what's going on my end. But
it was awesome.
Definitely.
Thanks for
it's that Canadian internet, eh?
That's right.
He's gone again. All right, boys. Thanks so much, eh?
Thanks, man. It was amazing. Really appreciate
jobs. That was fun, guys.
Success.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Congrats
we'll touch base
on the sponsorship too. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. South River Brewing. They
it's awesome.
They're a part of our team now, and they actually they told us they had a mobile bar. He keeps coming here going. It's
Thank
so
you.
funny.
There you go.
And they're like, if you guys ever shows, we'll come out and we'll set up our mobile bar. And I was like, this is dope.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So if you guys are ever in Canada, man,
for sure,
we would
outdoor gig, that'll be a party for sure.
We'd love to.
Awesome.
Everyone in Canada is so nice. So
yeah, until you live here, then you're like shit.
Until you live here. Yeah.
But you know what's funny, man? This video is gonna go on YouTube, and his face is gonna be frozen like that, and just it's part of the gig. It's cool. All right, guys, keep in touch. All right.
Yeah, we will, man.
All right, guys.
We'll catch you
later. Ciao, guys.
maybe.